evening. This is the Vsb TV 11 News for Thursday, March 6th. I'm Peter Cattell. Our top story: hundreds of residents living in the estates around Manor House in Flats woke up this week to a nightmare situation. Michael Bierman of Bierman's Quarry on Rocky Heights has applied for in-principle permission to develop his property for another 18 years. Objections are pouring in to planning ahead of the Friday deadline, and among them is a challenge from BEST, whose president, Stuart Hayward, is calling upon government to honor the environmental laws.
You have residences that are experiencing dust, grit that ends up on the roof and in the tanks, noise, pollution from machinery, traffic with its corresponding pollution, and we have to find some way to enable either those activities to coexist, and if they can't coexist, then we have to do something about it.
There has been a remediation aspect to planning where they say if you put it back the way it was, but you can't do that with a quarry.
It's not possible. As I understand, when they're finished, there's going to be an 80-foot hole. You know, that if you think about the ramifications of that as a collector of water, as a possible, I mean, it's just too horrible to think about. And when we're having demands for construction, it's as though we don't appreciate that the more construction you do, the less area is left to be constructed on. And Bermuda's at the leading edge. You know, we're the most densely populated oceanic island on the planet.
Mr. Hayward is also keen to see the DAB insist on an environmental impact study before making their decision on the Bierman application.
To make environmental impact assessments mandatory when there are large-scale developments, when there's going to be a large impact. And this is a clear case where an EIA should be done. There's going to be an environmental impact. It's going to be a varied impact. We can speculate about exactly what the impact is going to be, but it really needs to be scientific. We really need to have scientific evidence, and this is a requirement. It's going to be an increasing requirement for our government that they need hard data when they're having to make these decisions, because you know, the quarry won't like it if they decide in favor of the residents, and the residents won't like it if they decide in favor of the quarry. But if you have an environmental impact assessment, then that will include a traffic assessment, pollution assessment, noise assessment. It could even go, and probably should, to economic assessments and social assessments. But an environmental impact assessment would give hard data about whether or not such a development should be allowed to continue in a residential area, particularly a high-density one.
Parliament was told late last night that certain government ministers have received threats, and a number of measures have been taken to protect their safety. VSB's Chris Lodge has our story.
The revelation came from Works Minister Pat Gordon-Pamplin. She was responding to allegations that the number plates on some government GP cars had mysteriously been changed to private numbers. The minister telling Parliament, yes, but there was no intention to trick anybody.
When I have been made aware that there are threats to the safety of ministers, that it is important to ensure that we try to minimize those challenges as much as we possibly can. And as a result of that, some of the license plates have actually been changed from GP to a regular civilian plate number. There are things that need to be done in consultation with special branch and other parts of security forces that give us recommendations, and we would be foolhardy if we did not follow those recommendations.
The minister giving no hint as to which minister or ministers had been threatened. I'm Chris Lodge, VSB News.
The Bermuda Electric Light Company has asked the Energy Commission if it could introduce a graduated facilities charge that would reduce the $33 monthly facilities charge for low-energy users to $15 and assist customers on lower or fixed incomes, while increasing the fee for high-energy users to a high of $75. In addition, BELCO want to continue waiving the facilities charge for those on financial assistance, a gesture that started over a decade ago, and in 2013 cost Belco over $250,000 in revenue. It will be recalled that Belco also waived an approved 1.5% rate increase due to take effect at the start of 2011. That same year, it achieved a staff reduction of almost 9% when 26 employees took early retirement. A man was recently jailed in Bermuda for attempting to lure underage girls into engaging in sexual activity with him by sending the young girls messages through the popular social media site Facebook. It would appear that the phenomenon of social media sites is proving to be an issue more and more frequently here in Bermuda. Vsb's Julia Smat has more.
There appears to be a myriad of issues when it comes to the onset of social network sites such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Firstly, these sites make for a hunting ground of sorts for sexual predators to troll, identify, and groom their next victim by simply clicking on an underage person's Facebook page and initiating conversation. People should be aware that the Criminal Code Amendment Act 2007 has made offenses for behaviors such as luring, showing, making, and/or distributing child abusive material or child pornography an indictable offense. The penalty can be a maximum of 10 years. The images often posted by some teens in Bermuda are also disturbing. Unfortunately, it appears to be the norm for many teens in Bermuda to not hesitate to post images of themselves scantily clad or making obscene gestures as well as writing profanity. Equally disturbing are the numerous videos on YouTube that depict young people, many times in their school uniforms, taking videos with their cell phones of fellow students engaging in fistfights and then posting it on YouTube for the world to see. By simply putting keywords into the search box, you will instantly be routed to videos of physical altercations that have taken place in Bermuda. In one video, the location appears to be the main bus terminal. Two boys throw punches at each other, and not once do they appear to be interrupted by an official or anyone nearby. Another video shows two young men in school uniform engaging in a fistfight that appears to be in a hallway within the school itself. Police have recently issued a statement warning parents about this alarming trend and offer ways they can be more aware of what their kids are posting on these social media outlets. Parents are urged to educate themselves on the technology their kids are using, including cell phone apps such as Snapchat. Parents should also demand all passwords for electronic devices, install electronic safeguards that protect their families, and establish ground rules for the social media sites. There are other numerous preventative measures that can be found at www.cybertips.bn. I'm Julia Smat reporting for Vsb News.
In the Spirit of Love is a benefit variety show being held this Saturday at the Ruth Seaton James Auditorium by Cedar Bridge Academy students and staff to raise money to help the medical bills of Titan and Thalon Pogson, the twin boys born to Calvina Brown and Ty Pogson last December. Titan had to be flown overseas with a serious birth defect just 24 hours after his birth. Gina Davis, the school's PR director, and Deputy Principal Rosemary Matthews have helped organize the concert, which is aimed at raising $20,000 towards the LCCA's grant for overseas travel.
Miss Gloria Francis, she's one of the chief organizers of the In the Spirit of Love show that's going to take place this weekend. And she actually had a dream shortly after Mrs. Pugson's grandbabies were born and very, very ill. And she said, listen, I had a dream and God told me that I needed to help these children and I'd like to do a benefit show. And that's how the idea was spurred.
But no hesitation in getting organizers and volunteers?
No, not at all. The minute we basically said that part of the show was to help Mrs. Nesbitt's grandchildren who were very seriously ill at that time, people that have been involved with Patricia Pugson throughout the years just said, yeah, sure, no problem. They do not mind helping at all.
And it's going to be a wonderful, big concert. I don't think there's been a bigger concert at the Ruth Seaton James in years. Not
in some time. It's definitely going to be a variety show. So individuals that come, we have the Somerset Bridge Brigade Band, we have the Gina Love Band, we have Shine Hayward and Shine Hayward. We have Gina Spence and her husband Jeff Harper. They're going to do a dance routine. Tony Robinson one of the most glorious voices anybody would ever come across. She's going to open with prayer. And a lot of people, when they, not with prayer, but with gospel song, and a lot of people, when they use Tony, they use her to open with a gospel piece. We'll also have Cindy Smith. She currently works at Cedar Bridge Academy as well. Absolutely fabulous voice. Occasionally she works with the Wall Street Band. So she's singing as well. We have some students that will be performing, Tamara Jones and Marissa Trott. And we also invited a young man, his name is Jermaine Jaffers. He'll be performing with me. We'll do a comedic skit. So you have singing, dancing, and music.
We are hoping that the public will support Mrs. Nesbitt, Parks and Nesbitt, because she, as an artist, has given abundantly of her time and service. She works unstintedly at Cedar Bridge to propel the students to do their utmost in the arts. She offers her services generally for all sorts of functions, and we would like the public to salute her this weekend by supporting her with this grave mission. We're asking everyone, if you can't come, send a donation. If you need tickets, to call Cedar Bridge Academy, ask for Miss Cindy Smith.
Still ahead, Rosedon Hotel is honored by Investors in People for 15 years of meeting its highest standard. But next, it's the weather preview with Che Barker.
Hey, thanks, Peter. Let's take a look at the Doppler radar. Well, as you can see, not a lot going on right now, but will that hold right through the weekend? I'll have more coming up later.
The weather radar picture provided courtesy of the Ministry of Transport on Vsb Tv 11.
You can count on us.
Save $1.10 per pound on fresh Purdue chicken leg quarters, only $1.69 per pound. Imported Snow White cauliflower, just $3.99 each. Wise potato chips, all varieties, $1.49 for a 3.75-ounce bag. Buy Yoplait yogurts, just $1.09 for a 6-ounce tub. Ajax regular or with bleach 2-Axe laundry detergent, only $4.99 for a 50-ounce bottle. Visit our website at www.marketplace.pm for more weekly specials.
You can count on us.
With Cell One, you simply get more. More 4G speed and reliability across the island. More warranty coverage from the only carrier authorized to resell Apple iPhones in Bermuda. More first-class service with our 24/7 customer care, whether you're in-store, on the phone, or online. More services, mobile phones, long distance, and home internet, all with one company. Get more with one. Cell One.
Copyfax is Bermuda's authorized Samsung dealer. See a large range of Samsung color and black and white multifunctional machines, printers, scanners, faxes, and copiers, and all networkable. Copyfax has Samsung machines suitable for home, office, or any size business in an A4 format, taking up less room than other similar equipment. And replacement supplies are in stock for all of their Samsung products. Affordable shopping at Copyfax Limited, where service comes first.
The Center Against Abuse began a program targeting teen dating abuse awareness in an effort to help teens understand what is healthy and normal and what is inappropriate behavior in a relationship. The program launched during Teen Dating Abuse Awareness Month in February, and information sessions will continue throughout the school year at both private and public schools to educate students on dating and domestic violence, as well as violence awareness and violence prevention. The Argus Group has taken an interest in the program and made a sizable donation to the Center Against Abuse for the program. Dating violence includes abusive behavior used to exert power and control over a dating partner. The abuse can include hitting, biting, and kicking, as well as verbal abuse, such as threats and insults. The awareness sessions have been carried out at the Barclay Institute, the Bermuda High School for Girls, Delwood Middle School, as well as several other schools. Chief Executive Officer of Argus, Allison Hill, said it is important for young people to know how to identify dating abuse and how to get help. After 15 years of involvement with the Investors in People framework, Rosedon Hotel was yesterday honored for being part of an elite group of global organizations to achieve the 15-year award. Rosedon participated in the original pilot program, and Don McKenzie of Management Solutions Limited paid tribute to the hotel and its staff.
Well, Rosedon is the only accredited hotel in Bermuda with Investors in People. And basically it's a global standard which recognizes organizations around the world that develop their staff and team members. So Rosedon we're celebrating tonight Rosedon's 15th year with Investors in People. And Rosedon represents all the hard work it's done in developing its team, is reflected in the fact that it's got a great reputation in its peer group and it's got lots of repeat visitors. So we're proud, Management Solutions is proud to be working with Rosedon for the past 15 years.
So is Rosedon the only hotel in Bermuda you're working with?
Not only is it the only hotel in Bermuda, but there was a pilot program 15 years ago with other organizations, and Rosedon is the only, for lack of a better word, surviving member of that group. So this is a real testament to Rosedon's commitment to its people.
The Investors in People program is a great testament to our family's commitment to our staff as family members. We run all of our companies on a family model, and the investment in our staff and the belief that they all should work to improve their own lives and improve themselves is a commitment to our staff.
Now, we know that a lot of attention is paid to training the Bermudian staff. This must be a very proud moment for you.
It is, because they're key to the success of this hotel. So to be recognized for the training and development that we do with our staff is very, very gratifying.
You've been in the industry for how long?
Hospitality, 40 years, Rosedon, 35.
Now, here's the Reinsurance Business Report, presented by Bermuda Re.
Bermuda Reinsurance News, brought to you by Bermuda Re. Convergence Capital is encouraging traditional reinsurers to consider how to remain relevant. This according to Kathleen Ferris, CEO of Tokyo Solution Management, who tells Bermuda Re that it is difficult to tell what is driving rate declines, but that in all likelihood it is a combination of alternative and traditional market rate pressure that is behind the downward trend. Ferris says the issue is further exacerbated by the trend towards smaller reinsurance panels, which will mean increasing competition for signings. Argo Re and Horseshoe Re have signed a deal to create a seamless link between the reinsurance and capital markets. Drawing on Argo's underwriting experience and financial strength, coupled with Horseshoe's expertise in ILS transformation, the partnership will provide the capital markets with a flexible and efficient platform to participate in reinsurance programs requiring coverage from a highly rated reinsurer. Hiscox has paid $55 million for Direct Asia, Whittington Group's Singapore-based online motor and home insurance business. The company will continue to operate under its own name and with the existing local management team. Steve Langan, a managing director of Hiscox UK and Europe, has been appointed Group Chief Executive of the new venture, which has employees in Singapore, Hong Kong, and Thailand. Peter Stubbins is the new chairman of Guy Carpenter's Bermuda operations. He's replaced as CEO of Continental Europe and MENA by Massimo Reina. In his new role, Stubbins will be responsible for international and retro business conducted on the island. He will work with Tony Fox, who has been promoted to the role of Bermuda CEO. Insurers need to get serious about big data or else risk becoming uncompetitive and ultimately irrelevant. That is the view of Andrew Kendrick, president of ACE European Group, speaking at the Economist Insurance Summit 2014 in London, who argues that all players need to prepare for the coming revolution in data and technology. At present, the brokers are spearheading data capture, but Kendrick says all segments of the industry need to take big data seriously. That's Bermuda Reinsurance News, brought to you by Bermuda Re.
Now, here's a look at the daily markets, presented by Bias.
These are the daily markets brought to you by Bias. World share markets rose, supported by hopes that diplomatic efforts would cool the crisis in the Ukraine, while the euro advanced to its highest level of the year after the ECB signaled that the eurozone needs no additional stimulus. U.S. stocks rose as data showed that jobless claims fell to the lowest level in 3 months, and investors watched developments in Ukraine. The S&P 500 gained 0.2% to close at 1,877. 153,050 shares of Bank of Butterfield traded hands. The stock price was unchanged at $1.99 per share. Other Bermuda-related stocks listed in the U.S. closed higher. Germany's DAX was little changed as the ECB held its benchmark interest rate at a record low. The DAX rose 0.01% to close at 9,543. The UK's FTSE 100 closed up 0.19%. The Nikkei ended 1.6% higher as a weaker yen boosted shares of exports. Hong Kong shares rebounded from yesterday's losses, helped by the Chinese property sector. The index closed up 0.55%. The Vsb rose 1.08% at the closing of trading, amid speculation that the reduction in the index's valuation may have been excessive. The index closed at 47,093 points. The price of U.S. Treasuries fell, pushing 10-year note yields to 2.74%. German bonds and UK gilts also saw an increase in yields as the ECB kept interest rates unchanged. The U.S. dollar weakened versus most major trading partners. The euro rallied to a 2-month high against the dollar after the European Central Bank President Mario Draghi said inflation is expected to rise gradually. And that was a look at your daily markets, brought to you by Bias.
Imported red ripe strawberries, just $4.99 for a 1-pound package. Roast of fresh certified Angus beef, bottom round roast, $6.29 per pound. All varieties of Breyers ice cream, just $6.99 for a 48-ounce tub. Bonnie Select a size paper towel, only $3.19 for 1 roll. All varieties of Sargento shredded cheese, just $3.99 for an 8-ounce package. All stores open Monday through Saturday until 10 p.m. and Sunday 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
Want for much more furniture? Then shop at Big Savings Zone. Their prices are guaranteed, not estimates. Have you ever ordered something online expecting it to be a certain price, but when it arrives, it ends up being a whole lot more? Beware of those unexpected hidden fees. That never happens at Big Savings Zone. Their prices include all charges landed in Bermuda, so there's no surprises when your order arrives. Why settle for imitations? Shop at Big Savings Zone at the end of Stocks Road, St. David's.
Bermuda is lying second overall behind Barbados in the 2014 FEI World Dressage Challenge after competing in front of the 2 international judges yesterday at Vesey Street. Bermuda, the 2013 champions, will now wait for the results from Jamaica and Cayman. Bermuda Equestrian Federation board member Michelle Ingham has more.
Bermuda did very well yesterday. At the moment, our team is sitting in second place behind Barbados, and Trinidad is in third. The judges go on to Cayman and Jamaica after they finish in Bermuda, so we're hoping we hold our position.
What about individual winners?
So individually, we had Don Fox and Lancelot win the Prix St. George. Preliminary junior was won by Robin Stemple with Happy Feet. Our preliminary adult with Angela Holleran-Smith was phenomenal. And then our elementary junior, we had Zoe Olasak with Limited Edition. And then the final class, elementary adult, was Michelle Ingham with Roseland. And it looks like at the minute we're in the lead for the elementary adult class against the other islands.
Mm-hmm. Now back to the Prix St. George overall adult one. Bermuda, the judges, the 2 international judges, have already been to Haiti, Barbados, and Trinidad, and now Bermuda. So they're yet to go to 2 countries. Yes, they still have to go to Cayman and Jamaica. What do you think, Michelle? Do you think there's a possibility that they could put in a strong showing and we could slip further down from second? Because we are, last year's champions. Based on historic results from Cayman and Jamaica, I feel pretty confident Bermuda will stay in second, but it depends on the day and the horses that compete. Anything can happen. Sure. And today, of course, Dawn Fox gets her own show to try to qualify for CAC. Yes, and we're really pleased that Dawn got one of her qualifying scores yesterday with a 63.5%, so we're hoping she gets another great score today.
Choose to be healthy, Bermuda. Get out there and exercise with a sunscreen, hat, and shirt on every day. Eat healthy, don't smoke, and check your brown spots once a month to detect skin cancer early. anything growing darker, bigger, jagged borders needs to be checked. Wear your sunscreen, hat, and shirt every day. Be sun safe, Bermuda.
Well, today's weather reminded me a little bit of my wife, I'll be honest. Not so great in the morning, but lovely in the afternoon, but always a slight chance of turning a little bit stormy. I'm Jay Barker, and I'm probably sleeping on the couch. Let's take a look at our weather shot for today. Our weather shot today was from Dennis Whitehead, and this afternoon over Great Bay. A great shot looking out over the water. I was on North Shore most of the day. It was rough, but you can see there was a lot of cloud cover in the area. Sometimes it cleared, though. Not a lot of rain, but thank you for Dennis Whitehead for sending this shot in. Just another great shot. Thanks to all of our listeners and viewers who send in these shots. Our highs and lows for today. 73 was our high at 11 a.m. 67 was the low temperature at 8 a.m. this morning. Currently, we're looking at 67 degrees. Humidity is 80%. Winds out of the north at 8 to 12 knots. The barometric pressure is unsteady at 30.01 inches. So far for the month, we've seen 1.1 inches of rain. Our total so far for the year, 15.41 inches. You can see 4 inches up on that 11.17 we'd normally have seen. So still a very wet year. Let's take a look at our satellite map. Well, settle conditions will persist tonight as this stalled boundary kind of remains off to our south. On Friday, that boundary will be moved again back across the area, bringing rain, showers, and moderate to strong winds and some gusts all the way up to gale force by Friday evening, right through into Saturday. Now, we'll see a chance of thunder on Saturday morning ahead of the cold front that will begin to settle conditions on Sunday. In gateway cities, it'll be 54 and rainy in Atlanta, partly cloudy in Boston and 37, 45 and rain in Charlotte. London, we're looking at partly cloudy at 59 degrees, 81 and partly cloudy in Miami. New York, mostly cloudy and 42 degrees. Orlando, it's 74 and partly cloudy, 47 in Philadelphia and mostly cloudy, 37 and partly cloudy in Toronto, and you've got freezing drizzle and 39 in Washington, D.C. For tonight, low temperature around 65 degrees, mostly cloudy, maybe a few showers later on. Winds out of the north at 5 to 10 knots, then they'll go northeast during the evening and variable at 5 to 10 knots, and then switch again out of the southeast at 10 to 15 knots overnight. For tomorrow, high temperature of around 71, so it's still pretty warm out there. Cloudy with a period of rains and showers, heavy at times later on. Winds will be out of the southeast at 12 to 18 knots. Then they'll move out of the south at 18 to 24 knots. And you can see they increase once again out of the south-southwest at 20 to 30 knots. Gusts all the way up to gale force. For mariners tonight, no small craft warnings in effect. Seas inside the reef right now 1 to 2 feet. Seas outside the reef 3 to 6 feet. And that sea temperature 68 degrees. For mariners tomorrow, though, there is a small craft warning in effect from late morning. Seas inside the reef 2 to 3 feet. Seas outside the reef 5 to 8 feet. Low tide at 7:11 a.m. and high tide 12:48 p.m. Let's take a look at the 5-day forecast. Friday, cloudy with periods of rain and showers, heavy times, high of 71. Saturday, cloudy, rain or showers, a risk of thunder early, clearing later, high of 71. Sunday, partly cloudy, high of around 67. Monday, looking at the same, partly cloudy, but high of 69. And Tuesday, mostly cloudy, high of 71 degrees. I'd like to thank the Bermuda Weather Service for all their help and send a special shout out to a good friend of mine, Earl, who wishes Rachel was here doing it, but I promise you she'll be back next week. For all the rest of you who actually enjoy seeing me, thanks a lot. I'll see you again soon.
Thanks for watching the TV 11 News. Good night.
Peter Cattell's attire courtesy of A.S. Cooper & Sons Limited.
Vsb Tv 11, Bermuda.